I will show you step by step exactly how I go about sculpting hair in Blender without going into the curves and the particles. I don't want to do that, bro. Like, I don't like doing that. I like to sculpt my hair. And in this video, I will break down the exact process on how I do this. And we will use this baby Arnold that I'm sculpting as an example. Get to the chopper. Ugh. It's a bad impression. But yeah, so, and if you're watching this tutorial, I presume that you already know how to sculpt the heads. Because if you don't know how to do that, why are you learning about the hair? It's not something you should be curious about. Just so go learn about the head. And if that is something that you're struggling with, bro, I have this free 1 month head sculpting challenge, this free course that gets students results in literally as little as 2 to 3 weeks. All of these results they tell you, and all I do all of that without bullshit anatomical terms and medical terms. You don't need them, bro. So go watch them, and then of course you can watch this video as well. Also a disclaimer, bro, if you have 3 brain cells, you can watch this video, because this video will not have editing, time lapses. I will show you everything step by step. I will walk you through with me on every step that is over here. Okay, it's not a narration or a comment over video. I will show you exactly everything step by step. So if you have 3 brain cells, you can watch this. If you do not have 3 brain cells and enough attention span, you're a Jerry. Please click off. This video is not for you, bro. And if you're still watching, here's a fist bump. So good luck, my friend. And yeah, do let me know if you like this kind of videos. I can also make a tutorial on how I texture color the skin. So let me know if that is something that you would like. Just leave a comment, and if I get enough comment, I will make that happen as well. So if you're still here, congratulations, you have 3 brain cells, my friend. Good luck. Yeah, so this is where the model was before I decided that, okay, I should make a video about this. So the block out is something that's simple fairly, so I won't be covering it. Just kidding. Let's delete this thing and start from scratch. So before we even begin to sculpt the hair, the first thing that I would like you to do is to just observe your reference and to understand, okay, what would be the best approach towards this. Now there's certain ways, of course. There's curves, there's hair particles. I don't like dealing with that stuff. I just like to sculpt the hair because it's just easier. But I don't like that when you're using the curves and you're messing with the last vertex or something, and then the whole thing just I don't know, like it's super weird. And hair particles, it's so realistic. I don't want to work with that. Geometry note goes over my head. I haven't even math. No one wants to do that. I just want to sculpt. So there are 2 main ways, bro. Like, one of them is that you mask an extraction like this. So you mask an area and then you expand that and then you sculpt the hair on that. The other one is that you start with a sphere. So just a very rough example. Let me just roughly show you. So you would start with a sphere, and this sphere you would place this on top of your character, and that is how you would make the hair. But the sphere works best if, like, the hair has a lot of volume, or if, let's say, you wanted to sculpt a female and she has really long hair, so something like this. Oh boy, that looks awesome. So yeah, baby Arnold looks amazing. This almost looks like those Arabic things that the guys wear. So it's Habibi Arnold right now. Habibi baby Arnold. But yeah, you get the gist. Okay, so if we want to sculpt something that's long and whatever, then we use spheres. But in this case, since the hair is fairly close to the face, what I will do is I will just go to the side view. And here in sculpt mode, you have this option box mask. But if you click and hold on it, you can go to lasso mask. So on lasso mask, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the side of the reference and I'm paying very close attention to the shape over here. What I'm also paying very close attention is how high is it in the forehead. So Arnold has a bit of a receding hairline. You want to notice, okay, what's the angle here? So notice how it's going up. And then at this point, I can see another line and it points downwards, but it's also slanting forward. You also want to notice the distance here. So sometimes what happens is that this distance, you might make the hair like this. That sucks. Okay, so we want to pay close attention to all of this. So as I'm marking this, you see I'm following the same shape. So we have a curve that goes up and then dips down. So we'll have a curve that goes up and then dips down. We'll have this line that goes forward. So this line that goes forward. We have this line that goes back, and then we have this for the, I don't know what this is called, this side thing, whatever. But then here we make the hair, and boom, like what I've done is I've just masked a rough hairline. We can refine this hairline with the mask brush. So press M for the mask brush, and now we have more control, so we can 100% go here and define this. It's not going to be perfect. Of course, if perfection is the goal, but just trace. Why are you not tracing? As long as I'm in the ballpark, 80 to 90% accuracy, bro, I'm more than happy. Okay, now I see I made a mistake. So notice that this goes up and then it does dip down, but they are almost pretty much at the same height. But here you can see that this one's higher, this one's lower. So this is how basic observation, you can make basic observations in your sculpt. So I'll just remove this and move it higher as well. Okay, so just always when you're observing references, just think in terms of line, curves and s's. Okay, so for example, I see a curve here, then I see a line, then I see another line, I see a line, I see a line, I see a curve. So always look in terms of line, curves and s. Okay, it's called the SICK method. S, line and curve. Okay, that's how you can break down every single shape. And when you're doing it, also just pay close attention. Just use one point as an anchor. So use this as an anchor and compare, okay, is this point higher than this point? Is it lower than this point? And that's how you can do these observations. Okay, awesome. By the way, I already mentioned that if you want to train this better, just click the link in the description for get my free sculpting course. Okay, of course, if you don't know how to sculpt the basic face, but why is sculpting the hair? It doesn't make sense. So learn that first. I'll use the mask brush to further define this area. Now I am sculpting slower than usual. And that is because I want to show you every step. I don't want to skip over anything. So if this is something that you appreciate, please subscribe, bro. Okay, perfect. Let's do this. And I think this is good. Let's also look at the front view. So from the front view, I think this is nice. I think we can just slightly make this a bit pointed. And yeah, this looks okay. I like this. I think we're in a good place now. Perfect. So what I'll do now is I will go to mask extract, and make sure that you have the project to sculpt and extract as solid enabled. Okay, this is important because if you do not enable this, you will not get a modifier that I will show you. So when you have this option selected and you press extract, you see here in the modifier tab, we have this modifier, and this modifier is basically the same as a solidify modifier. So we can go here, set the offset to 1, and we can increase the thickness a bit. So increase the thickness, just get something in the ballpark of this. And I know it's longer here, not here, so it's completely fine, but just try to get a bit of thickness so that you have some wiggle room with this. Perfect. So now this is good. I'll apply this modifier, and it's very important that you apply this modifier. If you don't apply this modifier, bro, and you remesh, your model will break. This is because you haven't applied the modifier. This is just a plane, and you probably know, bro, that if you have a plane, you cannot remesh a plane. It breaks. So we cannot remesh this yet. So we have to apply this, and once you apply this, now you see it has thickness. This thickness is applied, and now when I remesh, boom, I have remesh and I can sculpt on this. But this is so too high poly, we cannot sculpt with this. You want to have a bit of a low value. The reason that we're sticking to a low value is because we want it to be low poly. Right now we just want to worry about the silhouette and the main shapes. Okay, so perfect. I'll just smooth here and there. So just smooth, make it smooth. And from the side I can see that it completely wraps around the ear, so I will also do that. Okay, so always look at your reference, make an observation, and then implement those things in your sculpt, and not the other way around. Don't guess your way, bro. The reference is there to guide you, so don't guess your way. Don't be a jitty, my friend. All right, so this is looking nice. Okay, perfect. And by the way, if you're wondering where I got this reference from, I generate them with AI, and I've already made a video about this on how you can do it as well. Perfect. So here, let's inflate this area. And the reason I'm inflating is because, of course, I want this puffy thing. You can also move if you want, but I don't want to move it, because if I move it, I know I don't have enough control, and I will mess up the hairline that I spent so much attention and care nailing. So I don't want to do that. So let's inflate this. So I'm just inflating to add a bit volume, a bit more volume to this. Okay, inflate here. And you see right now, I'm just worried about the overall silhouette and the shapes. So now we have some wiggle room to move as well. And I can see that the hair peaks here. So definitely we'll make it a bit higher here. And this side definitely needs to be very close to the skin. So let's push all of this inside. A very important angle is the third quarter. So let's go to the third quarter and pay close attention to the shapes here. Okay, so what do I mean by that? For example, here I see that my reference curls, but then this one, it's fairly straight. Okay, and this is important. So what I have to do is I have to push this in so that we also have that straightness going on. And this is how basic excuse me. And I know someone said bless you, so thank you. Let's look at the third quarter. Move this high. Yeah, just look at your reference, bro. And we're just worrying about the basic block out here. By the way, if you do want to practice this along with me, just make us favor, bro. I cannot share this model because I don't have the rights to do that. Although this is my creation, but yeah, I'm sure Baby Honor would sue me. He wouldn't. He wouldn't. But still, I just don't find it ethical to do that. Awesome. Let's make this go up. Let's look at the side view. So from the side view, just noticing this silhouette, it's almost, it's not super flat, but it's fairly flat on top. So I will pull all of this up. And you see, I'm not trying to make it super flat, but just fairly flat, like in the reference. So I'm looking at the reference, I'm making as an observation, and I'm implementing those things inside my sculpt. And this block out is the most important part, bro. If you skip this, then there's no point, bro. Let's look at the front here. And yes, from the front, we don't want a flat top. We want a bit of this curvature going on. And yeah, I think this is good enough. This is good. I'll just slightly move it a bit down. Perfect. And the reason you want to pay very close attention to this this block out, this low poly version, is because, bro, if this is bad, no matter how many details I add on it, it's not going to look nice, and it's going to be a pain in the butt to adjust this later. Think of poop, right? Just think of poop. This is a Jerry right here. So this piece of poo poo, bro, it's a piece of shit, man. Like, no one wants this. But if I say, yeah, I want to make this shit pretty, bro, let me put some flowers. Let me put some more flowers. Let me gold plate this piece of shit, bro. And yeah, what else? What else can we? Let me spray some perfume on this piece of shit, bro, so that it's a bit nicer. But bro, still it's a piece of shit. No matter how much effort you put on this, it's a piece of shit. So the same thing goes here, bro. Like, if this sucks, no matter how much effort, how much time, how much detail you put on this, it's going to suck. Or think of a burnt cake, bro. Like, if you have a cake that's burnt, there's no point adding icing on it or putting cherry on top. There's no point at all. So stop wasting your time. Focus on this first. Once you have a good block out, then yes, we can worry about the details. Okay, so here's something that I'm noticing from the side, that this line, so I told you, observe everything, use the sick method. This is such a sick method. So use the sick method, and from the sick method, what I'm seeing is that this is the line, this is a line, but then the angle on my line is much steeper, is this steep? Oh, this would be steeper. Yeah, this one has a more of a diagonal angle. This one is more steeper. Yes, this one is steeper. So what I will do is I will just push this here slightly forward. Or what I think I can do is I can just push this behind. So it's all relative, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So we have the rough block out. What I will do now is let's go high poly. And if you want to save your model, you can save your model right now. So let me do that. I'll save it because I want to have a backup of this. I might also make a breakdown video of this. I don't know. I might. So let's go higher poly. And this time you can go very high poly, okay, because the hair is super detailed. And by the way, a disclaimer, bro, like hair is something you can spend longer on than the whole body and the face. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding with you. Hair is something you can go super crazy with because of all of the details. But the way I want you to think of hair is think of marble sculptors. And why is that? Because marble sculptors are so impressive in the way that they simplify things. Let me show you marble sculpt hair. And yeah, bro, like imagine the artists then. Of course, bro, like they have to chisel their way, like tick, making the hair and everything, chiseling their way down. But look at how they made hair, bro. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Imagine the work that goes into it. Of course, they cannot sculpt every individual hair strand. They don't have hair textures or a comb that they put on marble. No, they have to tick, do all that. So what they do is that they form these clumps of hair. So you see, I can see a clump of hair here. I can see this clump of hair. I can see this clump of hair curling like this. So there's so many clump of hairs, bro. And if you sculpt like this, you can give the illusion of hair. Let's look at another example. Let's try to find another example so I can show this to you. So yeah, here, have a look here. Okay. So what this artist does is so beautiful. Like, look at this clump of hair, bro. They make these big clumps, and then within these clumps, you can define it as much as you want. So even if you just have the clump of hair, it's still going to look detailed. You will sell the illusion of hair. And marble sculptors are so, like, you can admire their work, bro, all day, and they're so inspirational. Imagine, bro, like learning back then, how difficult was it to learn? You have this piece of marble, you hit it hard enough, it breaks, and there's no going back. There's no control Z, there's no undo this. You can't do anything digitally, bro. And imagine the learning time for them. So of course you suck before you get good. No one's born an artist. So imagine how many marbles they had to waste. They spend weeks, months on a single piece just to realize it sucks. And then they have to do it all over again. And now what happens? The Jerry's, they sculpt for one day. This is not for me. So yeah, screw Jerry's, bro. I'm glad you're here watching this video. Jerry's do not even have the attention span to follow this long. So I'm glad you're here. Okay, what I want to do now as well is I just want to roughly color this. So what we can do is we can go to the color filter, and what I want to do is just select a rough brown color like we have over here. So just a brown color, and nah, this is too dark. And this is okay. I don't want to go too dark yet because I still want to see what I am sculpting. Okay, perfect. So we have this color, and let's smooth a bit of our mesh. So we have the high poly version now. And what you want to do now is you want to use the clay strips brush, and let's disable symmetry. Okay. And here what I want you to notice is not the individual hair strands, but look at the clumps like we just discussed. So I see a big clump here. I see a clump here. I see this big clump over here, and then within that clump we can define it as much as we want. I don't define it too much. I just want to sell you the illusion of hair. So what we will do now is we will take the clay strips brush, and like I told you, like we will just sculpt in clumps. I want to enable the size. I don't know why Blender turned this off by default, but yeah, here you see I just want to sculpt these clumps, and I think we're still a bit higher poly, low poly. So let's go higher poly, and just to show you how much this is, statistics, yeah, it's about 291k, okay, vertices, just to show you a rough estimate. And here should be fairly high poly. So see, now what we will do is we will sculpt this big clump here. We'll sculpt another clump here. And with here, what you want to realize is that don't do this, okay? Don't have perfect symmetry and perfect order. No. Here is super random. If you have one clump this way, set another one this way, just indicate the flow of hair. Have this here, so sculpt this one coming from underneath that, sculpt over it, make it overlap, so make it interesting. And this is a bit of intention, but also a lot of chaos. Okay, so for example, I don't want to follow this direction now. I'll make another hair strand, but I'll make it this way. I'll make another clump go this way, and this way you can get hair that looks much more natural. So this hair, I want it to overlap here. I want another hair to overlap that. So see, this way I'm just indicating that flow of hair. So what you want to do is you just want to sell the illusion of hair. You do that by having a flow like this. In some of these strands, so notice this one is thicker, this one is slimmer. You want to have this randomness. The more randomness you have, the more interesting it will be. Okay, if it's all very similar, it's going to look boring. So don't do that. So see, I made this really small clump, and then this clump, I wanted to overlap that clump so that it gives you a bit of some overlapping effect on the hair as well. This will make things more interesting. Close to here, let's look at the side. So see, here the hair gets shorter, here the hair gets shorter. So I'll just make these smaller clumps. Okay, so just make these smaller clumps. And honestly, I feel like we can go even higher poly with the hair right now. So let's go even slightly more higher poly. Okay, this is nice. And we'll keep doing the same thing all the way back to the hair. So I made this, I'll make this one overlap that one. And this is how I like to sculpt my hair. And the reason that I like to sculpt this, I feel like it's much more organic. And of course, if you want to print this later, if I want to have this 3D printed, I feel like this just gives a much more natural look instead of the hair particles and the curves. The curves work as well, but I don't like the feel of it. I like how natural and organic the sculpting method looks. So see, I'm just doing the same thing all around back to the hair. And I will show you some bonus tips as well. So let's just do that first and get to them when we get there. And while I'm doing it, bro, I don't want to make a time-lapse video of this because I wish someone had made a video like this where they don't time-lapse. I don't like time-lapses. Time-lapses don't help, bro. So I just make content the way that I wish I had. So if you enjoy this, just subscribe. Let's do this. Here, let's check the back of the hair. And yeah, we can get a bit rough as well. Like usually I pay most attention towards the front because that's the most visible side. But yeah, let's just subtly do this. And you see, I'm just breaking patterns. I'm adding some curves this way, some that way, some here, and then I overlap that here. So it's a bit of intention, like I mentioned, but it's also a lot of chaos. So if you're sculpting hair that's longer, what you want is you want longer clumps like this. Okay, so you want big clumps, long clumps. But since this is fairly shorter here, I'm making it smaller, these clumps. The length of them, the width of them. So yeah, this does vary here to here as well. Here we can like change a bit of the direction. Do this, just keep digging, just keep digging, just keep digging. Yeah, nothing interesting here, man. I'm just going to do this all the way to the back. And the reason that I'm not using symmetry is because I wanted to break this pattern here. Okay. And having symmetry is one of the easiest way to make your hair look boring. So if let me just symmetrize this just to show you. This is the easiest way to lose interest in your hair. This is boring. So yeah, do not enable symmetry. What you can also do is a trick that you enable symmetry towards here on the sides. So just to quicken the work. And when you reach the point that's closer to center, you disable it and then you add a bit more randomness to it. And that way you can also sell the illusion that, oh wow, it's all asymmetric. Whereas actually it is not. So this is just another trick that you could use if you want to speeden up the process of it. Yeah, get to the chopper. I Can't stop looking at this. I don't know why I wanted to sculpt this. I saw a really funny video once about someone impersonating Arnold as a baby. And that video alone just inspired the idea for making baby Arnold. And honestly, bro, like I love it. I love it. Don't you love baby Arnold? Okay, here's the really cool trick that you can do as well. So once you have the clumps of hair, you can take the snake hook brush and you see the clumps here. So notice these pointy things over here. This is something that we can make as well. So notice the hair clump, it ends here. What I do is I just take the tip and I use the snake hook brush to continue from there. So I'll just, that was my alarm. It's 6:25 a.m. but I'm already up. Yep. So we can take that, the end of those clumps, and just make a bit of these here. Be careful that you don't do this at a perpendicular angle. It looks very weird. Try to be as in line as you can. That will just give you the best result. So I know that I want the hair to curve this way. So I'll try to be best in line as best as I can and just pull it from there. That will give you the best shape. Of course, you can use a separate mesh to do this as well. But I just roughly want to break up a bit of the silhouette and have a bit of these hair clumps. And I don't want to overdo this either. So just a bit here and there should be fine. I think I overdid this one, so I want to bring it closer to the head. Of course, you can also just use the grab brush if you want to make it subtle. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to overdo this. I just want to break up the silhouette ever so slightly. Awesome. So that will be it for the hair of baby R. Let me show you some bonus tricks. So here's another bonus trick that I did, but I think it's better if I show you on the separate model that I did. So I just recently completed this Spider-Man sculpt. And the trick that I want to show you is how you can also add flyaway hair, or if there's like a bit of a messy hairstyle. So for example, this here. And I just want to show you how I made these hair strands to add a bit more effect and to add more flyaway hair. So let me delete them. Or let me just hide them. Okay, perfect. And you see over here, it's the same thing that I did here. So I started off really low poly. And then here you see towards these ends, I just used the snake hook brush. And I extended them to make these clumps of hair. Okay, here's another cool trick that you can do. So for example, we have this one strand, this is one clump. You can just mask this clump. Let me enable overlay. So you can mask this clump like this, or you can just mask any rough clump. So just mask an area of the hair. And then you go to mask extract. Make sure you have this this modifier, these options ticked. Let's go to offset 1, enable thickness. So a bit of thickness, that should be good. And then we go sculpt mode, apply, remesh. And then you want to smooth this. Let's go even lower poly because you want more control. So smooth this. And what I did with the flyaway here, the crazy hair that I showed you, is I just made a clump like this. And bro, I just shaped it as a separate hair strand. So this is just a really cool trick. Of course, you can always make a separate object for this as well. But I just like to do things quick. Something that just gives the illusion and boom, you understand that it is here. I don't like spending hours and hours and hours on a single hair strand. So anything quick does work for me. This is also why I don't like working with hair particles or curves. I feel like we can get a pretty satisfactory result with this method. And if you want more roundness, more volume, of course you can take the inflate brush and you can expand the hair a bit, remesh so that it's even geometry, smooth, and see, now you're starting to get volume as well. And where you want less volume, so towards the end, towards the tip of the hair, of course you want it to taper, so you can smooth at the tip of the end, and that will collapse a bit of that volume. And of course you can duplicate this, you can rotate it to the other side. Where's the object? Set origin, center, bounding box. You can rotate it to the other side, and of course you can shape it here. But yeah, just a really cool trick way of making flyaway here. If you want to, of course, there's no pressure to do it. But I just wanted to lay out these options for you. And yeah, if you spend a bit more time than I did on this, 100% you can get something like this. Boom. Perfect. I hope this video helped you. And bro, just subscribe. If you want a free course, just check out the link in the description, bro. What it will lead you to is, it will lead you to this free 1 month head sculpting challenge. It's a free community, bro. And what you get inside is you get this free course that will teach you from scratch and with the basics, without bullshit anatomical medical terms. You don't need that. And it will teach you how to sculpt faces in the easiest way possible. Of course, if you want to make hair, you need something to build hair on top of. And if you don't have anything, then what's the point, bro? Why sculpting that? And if you're a bit more serious, just check out the second link in the description and consider applying for the Davinci School. This is a much more serious community, and this is the next best step once you learn how to sculpt hair. And you can see the kind of results that we're getting inside. It's pretty sick. It's a very active community. We get results every single day. Over here we have additional courses on anatomy, female anatomy, retopper, stylized anatomy, and they are laid out in the order that you need to follow. So level 1, level 2, level 3, and stylized is at the end. Stylization is where we break all rules, bro. And before you break rules, you have to understand the rules well enough. So yeah, just check out the link in the descriptions, share, like, subscribe, do the algorithm stuff, bro. And here's a fist bump. I'm very happy to see her. You're not a Jerry. Awesome. Boom.